Okay, hello everyone. So working better this way. So we're going to start. We welcome you to our presentation for the webinar of Opencell 14 that we are just launching today or the day before. There's been a presentation already yesterday in French. Today it's in English. So welcome everyone. I'll introduce people that will talk today. So myself, I'm Emmanuel Pierre, I'm CPO of Opencell. On my left, if you see the camera, you will see Stéphane Chambrin with our VP product. On the right-hand side, there's Charles Fabry, who is a product owner, and Sophia Drissi, product owner also. So we'll present this release, which has been a common work between PO, software factory, testers, and the like. I see there's already something in the chat. No, that's also all fine. Thanks. What we'll present today, we'll start with a short introduction to who is Opencell, a quick overview of some novelties, some things we are working on. Then we'll address directly what's the content of Opencell 14, and then we'll go through 3 little demos, and we'll finish by Q&A. So please write your question in the chat. We'll read that at the end for the Q&A session. You can write that during the whole presentation, and everything will be perfect. Everything is recorded, and you will receive an email with the recorded session in the next days. Thank you. So, introduction to Opencell. Why Opencell? Opencell mission, let's say it simply, it's quote to cash platform. So quote to cash means I sell, so I do a quote to my customer, I process the order, make it a subscription, invoice, get the payment, get late payment, and so on. So that's what we call quote to cash. And we help you optimize or transform your recurring business model. What it means is that it's a platform to help you to invoice, but not just invoice, mostly recurring invoices and also usage. And what we aim to do is to manage the complexity through something which is agile, simple, and powerful. So that's very important to get into mind, is that we want to address your complexity through something which is agile, simple, and powerful. So it's not always that easy. In a longer drawing, what we can say about quote to cash. Just to draw the whole picture. So it's around quote and order. So you create a quote, you negotiate quote, you go negotiate your quote, you make quote 1, quote 2, whatever. You add to a discount. So it's full negotiation based on an existing catalog. So that you can transform when the customer agrees to an order, and this order then becomes a subscription. Subscription, which is quite common today in our economies. So you get an invoice on regular schedule every month, every 2 months, every 3 months, every year, whatever you want. So that's something we can handle easily. And your subscription gets something going on. It has a life cycle, so you can upgrade, downgrade, change offer, add optional services, whatever you want. And on top of that, you can have usage. So pay as you use, pay as you grow, pay whatever you want. So we do all the collection and we do the rating of everything based on what you do. We also automate partner commissioning and settlement. So it's also part of our B2B activity. It's not just B2C. B2C, you have a customer, which is an individual. We do B2B and complex B2B. We call it also B2B2X because we can manage a hierarchy of sellers. We can manage settlement and so like. So you the consumer consume. We do the invoice, from the invoice, we also manage a receivable. So we generate the cycles, the account receivable, the subledger. So everything we automatize that. It's automatic. You don't have to do anything. You just do parameter within the system, and everything goes on smoothly. Then we manage collection, payment and collection. So whatever you want to collect in whatever the currency. So we'll do some demonstration on that. And then we can automate also the dunning process. We can customize many dunning workflow based on customer criteria, customer segmentation you do. And in the end, we do the record and report. So everything that happens in the system, you can have a report, you can export data, you can generate reports. That's what we do. Just for those who have not yet received the email, we have just published on LinkedIn some articles about the new MGI research use case notes. So MGI, which is an analyst company, has done on Opencell an analysis of who we are, market we address, where we are good at. You can find everything online. You can see a kind of scorecard, but it's a 3-page document you can find from our LinkedIn page if you have not yet received the email. So you're very welcome to get some information on us from an independent research company. Today and tomorrow, what is Opencell doing? So what we are doing, just to give you some very fresh news, from the release of version 13, which was in August, till today for version 14, we have raised the number of online articles by 89, so nearly 19 new articles. We have updated many others. That's very important to say. And you can find also a very widely updated user guide. So that's a big effort we've been doing for the last 6 months. So you can go to the documentation and find the result of it. There's also a recently updated page, which is I don't know if you can see it, but it's a different logo on this on the page. You can see on the right on the left hand side. Where you can find by module, by documentation module, what has been changing, what is new, what has been updated. So you can also see from version 13 to 14, you can have an easily access to what content has been edited. Also, Opencell as a software editor, we have some customer success activity. So it's not product, obviously, but it's our colleagues. So they offer 3 kinds of activities. They offer support. If you have a maintenance contract with us, you can reach them to ask questions, report bugs, or you can change requests through them. There's also an Opencell Academy going on. We have worked from the ground all our training. So today there are some sessions of training going on. With some customers. So if you are interested on that, you can reach your contact at Opencell. And we also do professional services. So that's where our specialists helps you to design your architecture, your project, makes the best choice, so you can implement or extend your usage of Opencell. And to finish on this, before discussing totally about Opencell 14, we like also to give you some news on project we work on middle terms. So there's one with many letters, RGAA. We want to reach accessibility level grade AA for the Opencell portal. So there's been some analysis done, and now we are building a plan to improve that grade. So we want that our portal can be used by customers, and there are more and more customers using it. So end users, mostly end users at our customer premises. We want that it be used by people with visual disabilities. So they can use text, they can use text-to-speech, they can use, they can have visual disabilities about color, they can be colorblind. Well, we want to address all that in the portal, and so that the widest or the more people or everyone even can use our portal. For those, that was the first subject. For those living in Europe, you know that Europe is massively going through e-invoicing. So going further than just B2G, so business to government, that there are some countries already doing that, so like Italy, partly Spain, it's a small part in Germany. So it's coming also to France. So we are working on going through the normalized fields, I should say, or values. So tomorrow you can generate your invoice, and this can be transformed to whatever format your country requires. So we intend to be on values that correspond to the international standards to facilitate addressing every e-invoicing in every country. What it means also, and that's a subject, that's why I call it midterm. That's something that is that you will start seeing as RGA. You will start seeing some results from version 14.2 and 15. And the last subject, it's about revenue recognition. We already spoke on that on version 13. So that's something we are actively working on. So we are reworking that from what was existing before. That's a new module that we will add to Opencell. So we are working on that also, and it will be for another version, obviously. Now, going back to Opencell 14. So Opencell 14 is a new version that replaces, let's say, version 11. So as you know, our catalog model and more generally our model has changed with version 11. So from 10 to 11, there's been a model, what I call also a model, catalog model V2. So today with the launch of Opencell 14, we put Opencell 11 to the how can I say?
The graveyard.
To the graveyard. To retire. So just to give you some highlight on Opencell 14, and we will see later about scenarios, but just to discuss a bit about the values of some three big new features of Opencell 14. First one is, as you've seen in the invite, is about specifying rules for bill runs. Today, when you do a bill run, you go into several steps. So first you say, okay, I want to run my bill run. You give criteria. Then you go to a first step. The first step, it's still drafts. So you can see what's going on. And the only choice you have is to accept everything, or you can exclude some. But you must decide whether you want to do the bill cycle or not. So if it's not good for many reasons, maybe your price was wrong or for big cohort, whatever the reason, well, you have to cancel everything. So it means also that you have to go back to correct on the catalog, do the re-rating, and you lose time because the more you delay the bill cycle, the more the delay is the cash coming from the invoices. So what we have done in this version is kind of rule system that allows you to define when and how you want to control the invoices. Meaning you can say, okay, my invoicing is below 100 euros. Well, no risk. They can go through directly. Very fine. My invoice is above, let's say, 100K. I want to control it manually. Invoices above 1 million. Well, there's a problem. So you can decide what to block, what to keep, and what to alert. So that's something very useful if you want to stay on time with your billing billing run schedule. So we'll address that in a demo. Another subject, what we call monitor and secure customer risk. Well, given the inflation in many regions, and given the risk, or maybe sometime the necessity for companies to increase their reach of new customer, there are more and more new customers coming on. One example, or many customers that may present a risk, and you want to address that. For example, what is the risk if I have, let's say, 200 new customers, and I don't know if they will pay their first invoice? Well, and you know that from month to month, it's the same thing. You have, let's say, 30 to 40% people defaulting. Well, how can you address that? One solution that we did with this version is, for example, to require an advance payment. So advance payment means the customer has to pay before getting the services, and you need to check that the money is there before you can actually activate the services. So that's one way for addressing that. Another way is the security deposit. Security deposit being a bit different. Imagine you're a telco operator, or you're renting a car or DIY equipment, and you don't want the people going out without leaving some money, so you be sure you get the hardware back. So you may want to ask for a security deposit, and you will keep this. It will be kind of hold till the equipment is back, and if the equipment is not back, you can decide to give it back to the customer partially or totally, or keep everything. So it's kind of security feature for you to manage the risk of something getting out. So I don't say not much about that right now. You will see that in the demo, what you can do with it. And the third subject, multi-currency and multi-taxes. So that's a big evolution we've done for this version. There will be further evolution in version 14.2 and 15 regarding the catalog side. Today, within Opencell, you can invoice a customer in their currency, meaning we will, from the catalog, we will manage an exchange rate mechanism. And that means also that you can define which currency you can allow to trade. For example, you want to target Europe, America, UK, you could define 3 currencies, and full stop, that's the only ones you will accept for a customer. Example. That's something you can do. So as your accounting will be in only one currency, we will manage for you all the exchange rate management. The customer will receive the invoice in his currency, but you will do the accounting in your own currency, your functional currency. So that's something we'll present later. And also, we have added also the capacity to handle multi-tax fiscal systems, meaning that, for example, for some countries, you can have federal, regional, and even local taxes applying to a sale. So that's something you can define, that you can do with Opencell. You can integrate with external system, giving this kind of up-to-date taxes, as you can do today, to define how to manage the taxes within Europe, whether it's the VAT and the like, the VAT number of the company and the like. So that's something we will demonstrate to you. So that's the 3 main we wanted to show you. There are many more. There are 30 more features. And even more. It's not everything is there. You will find it on the documentation within the release note. So to give you some more ideas, we have also mass customer import from the portal, so you can import from CSV files customers. So you can migrate or import a list of customers from other systems. We have clearing of accounting entries. We have improvement on accounting period closing and even the fiscal year closing. And you can run the exports from the portal and download them from the same screen. Sorry. Many bill manager improvements. We have also powerful re-rating management screen from the portal. You don't have to go scripting anymore. We have the same thing when the invoice has been emitted. We have a mass adjustment on invoicing. So that's something you can manage every mistake you would ever live through the build run. So that's we don't present it today, but they are very useful feature for the build run guys. Well, there are many other things. Product multi-instantiation from the CPQ, contact management, so you can manage contact within Opencell. We have improvement also on contracts. Contracts are framework agreements, and many other things. So that's a short list, but there are many more.
The full list of is available in the release note.
It's a release note, yeah. And then we'll go on demo time. So we'll present this demo part around the persona. That's something we are introducing at Opencell. So you will find on your screen the different persona we see using Opencell. So we have, let's say, five is the maximum. That's range from marketing that want to create offer and change the offer whenever they want. Sales guys, they want to sell contracts, do the quotes, do the configuration with the customer, close the deal with him. We have the support that helps they help customer about issues they have. They want to build their loyalty with the customer. We have the operation, so the guys that run the mediation, the bill run, the export, everything which is kind of business to IT related. And we have the finance guy around parameterization of the system, accounting, back office management, contract validation. So everything you can imagine from a B2B company. And we'll demonstrate the three scenarios around what we presented previously and from the invitation. So there's one on invoice control automation that will be presented by Stefan, one on customer risk that will be presented by Sophia, and Stefan again on the foreign currency and multi-tax. So I leave the floor to Stefan.
Hi everyone. So I will present you the new feature in Opencell 14, that is the invoicing control automation. As Emmanuel already explained to you, it's a set of rules that will allow you to automatically check the invoice, check if they are valid or if they must be manually checked. First of all, we have the finance guy who will decide the rules to implement to manage the risk. These rules will be implemented in Opencell through our portal interface. Then they will be used by the operation guy when he runs the billing runs and generate automatically the invoices. These invoices will go through these rules and will be marked as rejected or validated depending on the result of the rules. And then on the rejected rules, we will have to manually check them, to cancel them, or to modify them to allow to continue the process. Next, please. Yes, that is what we will see together. How we define the automatic validation criteria. We will execute a billing run to generate some invoices based on data I've already input in the system. And then we will check the invoices that are generated. Of course, there will be some rejected invoices, and we will see what we can do with them. Okay, let's go. Good. To access the interface to configure the rules, you will go to the operation application. The applications are the small buttons on the left, and then billing rules, invoice validation. Here you will have a list of all invoice types available in the system. So you can configure a different set of rules for each invoice type. Here we will go to the invoice type invoice, which is the regular invoice. As you see, I've already configured two rules. A rule that says invoice must have amount without tax below 15,000. And another rule that will ask me to check invoices for new customers. Here you can see that the rules can be scripts or expression languages. That's very interesting because scripts, if you know Opencell already, is small pieces of code that you can add to Opencell to define rules, for example, or to modify the behavior of Opencell. We will provide a number of preset rules. Here, for example, we have compare invoice amount. If you open this rule, you can see the different parameters that are available for this rule. The amount to test, amount without tax or amount with tax, an operator to compare the amount to a set value. On the right-hand side, you also have a short definition for what the rule can test. And as you can see, we provide 6 default rules that will allow to compare invoice amount, amount per offer invoiced on the invoice we check, the credit category, which is some sort of customer rating. We can also check the customer age, not his age, his actual physical age, but more his age in the Opencell system. And you can combine these rules. All the rules you set must be valid, must pass in order for the invoice to be valid. Okay, now we have the rules defined, and we will go to the billing run interface, still in the operations application. Billing run, this is the first item on the top of the list. We'll create a new billing run of type cycle run, which is a regular billing run that will process the invoices on a regular basis defined by the billing cycle. I leave all the settings here to the default. It's enough for what we have to see. So we see here I have a new billing cycle that I send to processing. Usually you have a lot of data. Here it's a demo platform. We have very few data, so the process is very quick. As you can see, the billing run is rejected, and the system automatically sets status filters on suspect and rejected invoices. So we can, at first glance, we can very quickly see if we have things to check or not. If we remove the filters, you see that we actually have generated 4 invoices. 2 are in draft. These I don't need to check; they are okay. If we process the billing run, they will be validated automatically. And I see that I have a rejected invoice and a suspect invoice. On the right, maybe I should zoom in a bit so you can see better. You can see the rule that rejected the invoice. And now we will go to the invoice itself to see to check them and see if they must be validated, cancelled, or maybe sent to a quarantine run. This notion of quarantine run is when, for example, you have thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions of invoices to produce, but maybe you have 10 invoices that are rejected. You don't want to wait for the 10 or maybe the 100 invoices you have to check to be processed manually to send a million invoices that are okay. As Emmanuel said before, the longer you take to generate and send the invoices, the longer it takes for you to get the cash from the customers. Here, our invoice is rejected. We see it's rejected by the rule. Invoice must have an amount below 15,000. As we can see, the amount without tax is 20,000, so it's above the threshold we have set. What we do? I'm the operation guy. I go, I investigate. I ask maybe the IT guys why this invoice is that high. Is it normal? Is it not normal? And they tell me there's been an error in the data. So actually, this customer didn't consume for 20,000 pieces of the article we sold, but rather 200. So instead of canceling the invoice and regenerating an invoice or validating the invoice, then send an adjustment, I decide here to directly update the invoice line to make the invoice correct. I change the invoice line, so the quantity now is 200. And if I try to validate the invoice, it will be automatically validated because now the rule passes. Let's go back to the billing run. So we still have one invoice to check. It's a suspect invoice. Why we have suspect and rejected is because you can define some different automatic actions for these two statuses. Suspected is when it's something you have to check, but it's not critical. So we can define to automatically validate them if we want a fully automated process. While rejected, usually you will have to check because it's abnormal. So let's check this invoice. This invoice has been rejected or suspected by the rule about new customers. This is a new customer, and we want to make sure that new customers are invoiced correctly. So that's why we want to check these invoices. Here I see there's nothing special, everything seems fine, so I want to validate it. If I try to validate it directly with the same validate button I've used before, it will still be suspected because it's still a new customer. So we have this other option, which is to force validation that will disregard all rules and validate the invoice. Now we don't have any more suspected or rejected invoices, but the run is still rejected because we haven't reprocessed it. Now I send it to process again. And as we can see, it's validated with all invoices, including those that were drafted before validated invoice. That's it for this demonstration. We have seen together how Opencell can help you check your invoices automatically and make it easier for you to be sure that your customers are satisfied by receiving a correct invoice.
Yeah. Thank you, Stéphane. Vicky, the presentation. Too many tabs on my computer. I'm trying to find it. Yes. All right. Okay. Thank you, Stéphane. Next one will be for Sophia.
Yes, thank you, Emmanuel. So for this part of the demonstration, we will see how you can manage the customer financial risk by using Opencell. So as a CFO, I can manage it by two different options that are either call for advance payments or asking the customers to pay a security deposit. So as a sales operator, I receive first an order from the customer, and then I ask him to pay. And as soon as I receive the payment, in either ways, like if it's a call for advance payment or security deposit, then the subscription is activated, and the finance manager can activate the order. And we will see how it works in Opencell, and we will try to see also the whole process and the whole life cycles. Yes, the whole life cycles for the two cases. So let's start. Yes, by the first case, like here, the first case will be the advance payment scenario, and the second case will be the security deposit. So here, as I am a sales manager, and I am discussing with one of the customers of my company about a usage service. It means the customer will only pay what he has used at the end. And I am estimating that the first invoice of this usage service can have a significant amount. And I want to manage the risk of having an unpaid invoice at the end of the month, for example, if it's a monthly subscription. So before validating the order, so here we can see the first order. So as I said, it concerns this offer. So it's a usage service. So here I can have all the information about this offer and about this order. But I need to ask for an advance payment before launching the subscription. Then I will show you how you can handle it here by using this feature. So I can, to inform the customer about the exact amount to be paid in advance, I can use a document, which is an invoice, but the type of this invoice is call for advance payment. Like here, I've already created one with one article. The type of this article is also advance payment. And I choose, I have estimated the advance amount to be paid by this customer. So here I have estimated 5,850 euros to be paid. I just have to validate this invoice and to maybe send it to the customer. Sorry, I have a little issue here, but let's do it again. So what I was saying is I just have to validate this invoice. So at this point, the subscription can start. And no, sorry, at this point, I'm still waiting for this advance payment from the customer. Once I receive the payment, I can validate the order. So let's go back to the order that I've presented just before to validate it. And now the subscription can start, and we can imagine now that we are at the end of the month. So now I have to generate another invoice to bill the remaining amount of the service. So here we go back to the invoices tab. I choose this invoice. I've already created one. And I have here an article. So the final invoice is finally 11,700 euros. But I just have to save it. And then I have the advance payment that will be applied on it. So the final amount of this invoice is only half of the original amount, because we include this advance amount here. It's already applied. So I expect the customer to finally pay just 5,850 euros. So here the process is to validate this invoice, to send it again to the customer. So that's it for this first option. To manage the customer risk is to call for advance payments. Now let's see the other case where here we have another type of offer. We have an order about a recurring service. So it can be like an internet access service, and this offer includes providing the customer with a box, with an internet box. So here again we have another order, a different one, with the right offer, the internet access. So let's see how we can manage this process by using the security deposit. In this version, in this 14th version of Opencell, we can put the security deposit. We can use it as an article in an invoice, a specific invoice called the security deposit invoice. Here I have already one in a draft status. So for this service, I ask my customer to pay only 100 euros. So let's validate it right now to see what are the outcomes in the security deposit tab. So in this tab, we have the balance. We have a specific balance to track the security deposit lifecycle. So here we can see that a security deposit object, if we can call it like this, is created. It's the last line here. So now I'm asking the customer to pay this amount, and let's show you how we can manage it. I have already created a payment, and I can match this invoice, this security deposit invoice for this customer, with this payment operation here by using this sub menu called manual matching. So here I choose to match these two operations. Maybe I have to wait a little bit so I can confirm the operation.
I'll try again. There's a job that must be running at the background.
Yes. Maybe
too fast. App is running.
Okay, let's do it again. So I choose first the invoice and then the payment operation. And let's try again to match. Maybe I will refresh the whole page. Okay, so now I can confirm this operation and then go back to the customer view in the security deposit balance to see the impacts on this balance. So now the status has changed. The current balance has been updated by the amount I have just received. So now that the security deposit is fully paid, I can validate the order as before. So the subscription starts just after this validation. And now let's imagine the further steps of the process. Now that the security deposit is blocked, I have received the payment. Let's see what are the different scenarios we can have. So maybe at the end of the month, the customer brings back the box, the internet box. So I can refund fully the amount by using this button right here, by clicking on the refund button. So here it's the end of the subscription. I confirm, and we will see that the status will change and an adjustment invoice will be generated, automatically generated. And then we can imagine another scenario where the customer do not bring back the box at all, or maybe it is damaged. So I have to block a part of the amount and use the other one to pay with it an invoice, and another invoice in this customer's balance. So here we can go to the customer's balance. We have already one invoice which is still unpaid. Let's choose this one and try to pay it with a security deposit. So we have some money available. So let's choose this one, for example. It can be, we can maybe use this one to pay the whole amount. And of course, each time you do an operation, everything is updated here. So you can track all the operations on each security deposit by seeing more details on the transactions here. So that was the different scenarios you can have in order to, and the different options to manage your customer risk.
Thank you, Sophia. So we'll go to the last demonstration. Stéphane.
Yes, last demo. Here we will talk about how we will handle invoicing customers in different currencies and apply different taxes. Yes. First, we must decide Here is the finance guy talking. You must decide in which currencies you want to do business. They will have their own currency, of course, which we call functional currency. This is a currency in which the company accounting is done. But you can also decide to sell to other customers, to some customers in other currencies. This you can define in Opencell and choose which exchange rate you want to apply for these trading currencies. You can also define different tax schemes depending on the country, because you will not sell using the same tax for local customers and foreign customers. Once this is done, the salesperson will quote an order for the customer, which will generate a subscription that we can invoice using a billing run like what we have seen just before together. And that's what we will see in the portal right now. We will see where you can define a trading currency, how you can set an exchange rate, and you can see that we will handle several taxes. Then we will check the invoices of our customers in functional and foreign currencies. Okay, I will share my screen again. Okay, first let's see what we want to talk about. Yes, let's see the currencies. So to define the currencies, we go to the general settings application, application settings, currency settings. Here you see that we have already defined a functional currency. Once it is defined, you cannot change it anymore. It's impossible. And if you want to do so, you will have to see with the IT to do it manually. But it's not advised. And anyway, we usually don't need it to change the currency of the company. As I told you before, this is the currency in which the company, the provider, is doing accounting. So most of the operation currently, the catalog and the payments and accounting are done in this currency. Emmanuel told you that in the next release, we will add a multi-currency catalog, so you can define prices in the various currencies. And we will also have the ability to match payments from in the trading currencies. As you can see here, we have defined two trading currencies that will be used for the transactions with the customer. We have a dollar and British pound. When you go to the definition of this currency, you can set exchange rates for different dates. Of course, you will always have one current rate, which is the rate valid for today. And you can add as many trading currencies as you want. We have a library of almost all possible currencies available. Yeah, again, if it's missing from here, we can add it easily by configuration. But we could add some pesos or whatever currency you want. Now that we have several currencies, we must also define which taxes we will apply to our products before sending the invoice. And to do that, still in the application settings, Still in the general settings application, in the finance settings, we have taxes. Here you can define the different taxes. Most of the regular tax here in France, it's 20%. It's this one, but I've decided to define another tax for the UK. It's totally hypothetical. I don't know really how a tax system works in the UK, but I decided that it will be a composite tax composed of the tax eco, nat, and log that I have already previously defined, and that we can see here. We have an eco tax, which is I imagine being a tax about recycling and things like this. We have a local tax and a national tax. Here you see the sum of the different taxes is 17%, and you see it as a reminder on the composite tax. Before, when we were talking about the invoice validation rules, we have executed a billing run. In this billing run, we had 4 invoices produced. One of them, for Arthur's Emporium, is for a foreign customer located in the United Kingdom. So I open this invoice. I already immediately see that the invoice is in British pounds. And here you can see the amounts in pounds. As I said, the catalog is in euro, in the functional currency, but at invoicing, we convert this euro using the set exchange rate into pounds. So we can invoice our customer in its favored currency. I see here that I didn't go on the right invoice. I will see to. I will use the correct one. This one. It's loading. Just wait. Okay. Let's take this invoice. This one here, we can see that we have the multi-tax, the composite tax that we have set before. Here you can see on the invoice line that this invoice line has been applied our United Kingdom tax of 17%, that is composed of eco tax 2%, national tax 10%, and local tax 5%. On the tax details, you will see the details of the tax applied. So that's all what I wanted to show you, that we can invoice in various currencies and apply different taxes.
So that's totally transparent for the sales guy.
Yes, it doesn't have to care where the customer lives. Automatically, the system will apply the correct tax and maybe the correct prices depending on the location.
And that comes from the customer profile.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Stéphane. So we have finished our session about tool demonstration. So, sorry. You put by the camera. Okay, thanks.
Did you put it back?
Non, on peut pas.
You can't have the camera for the room anymore. Anyway, so we'll now do the Q&A session. Oh yes, camera is back. Good. So please post your question to the chat. We'll read them and answer them from now on till we get no more questions. So we've had the first question about the release notes. So release note along the whole documentation is only available under the support of Opencell. So it's only so you can only get them through through the support portal as it is today. So I would suggest that if you don't have a support contract with Opencell anyway, to contact maybe your sales support and see if they can give it to you. So that's something as a Word doc. The Word doc is only available under the support side, and the support side is only available to people under contract with Opencell through enterprise license. So that's the main question we had so far. So yes, Stefan has given in the chat answer to the answer. You will find the URL to access the support portal. Are there other questions around? We are waiting to have some more questions.
Let me show you the support portal and how to access the release note and documentation.
Yes, please go on. That will give time to people to ask some questions.
Yes. So the URL I sent in the chat, support.opencellsoft.com. I've already registered, so I log in directly. And you can see here the first information on the portal is where to get the release note. When we click on it, we switch to the knowledge center, and you will have the release note here explaining the status of the versions. Currently, we are we are talking about version 14, which is the stable version, and version 11, as previous said, and previous version are now unsupported.
Just a note, you will need to actually have a login to go there.
Yes.
So you might want to check in with your usual point of contact here at Opencell to get one if ever you need to access this platform.
Okay, it's also in this knowledge center that you will have access to our all documentation.
Go back to the start of the street. Yes, so that everyone can see that. Maybe yes, we have otherwise we don't have much question. Yes, please go into the recently updated articles. That's what I said before. Here you can find everything that has changed between two versions, and go down, please. You can find also yes, you see when it's written new, it's a new page. All the other page, for example, commercial rules, as you see that here, it's an updated page. So from there you can see every new or updated page, article by article, and you have the navigation on the right hand side where you can scroll through the chapters. Chapters being the documentation module you get on the first page. So that's it. I'm waiting if we have some more questions. We are really sorry because the schedule is not maybe the most effective for everyone. So that's why maybe we don't have that much question today. We had a lot yesterday regarding the life cycle of the security deposit. We had others about the future roadmap. As I said, a little bit future roadmap. We have accessibility for the portal. We have electronic invoicing values from normalized invoices. We have many things about usability. We have things about multi-currency in the catalog, so we don't have to go through currency exchange to do the invoice. We have many other subjects going on, and we had some time only today to show you a little bit of what's new within Opencell. There are much more features as you saw, and please see the release note. It's really contains a lot of information about what's new in this version. So if we don't have any more questions, we will close today's session. I would like to thank you on my behalf and my colleagues present in this room, and all the software factory, QA, and every other people in Opencell for joining this this webinar. And you will receive in the forthcoming days a link to the recording, so you can watch this session again. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Good evening. Bye.